the more you share, the less power you have. It sounds strange at first. We're taught to open up, to express ourselves, to let people in. Everywhere you look, people are sharing their lives, what they're doing, what they're feeling, what they're planning next. It feels normal, expected even. We live in a world where oversharing isn't just common, it's encouraged. Social media rewards it. The more you reveal, the more attention you get. Your goals, your emotions, your struggles, your wins, it all becomes content. And slowly, without even realizing it, your private life turns into something public. But here's the part most people don't think about. Not everyone who listens supports you. Some people watch you not because they care, but because they're curious. Some listen not to understand, but to compare. And some pay attention for one simple reason. Information is power. And the more they know about you, the more power they have. Think about it. Sometimes people smile at your success, but deep down, they're measuring themselves against you. They're not celebrating. They're comparing, watching how far you go, waiting to see if you fail. Sometimes people listen to your problems, not to help, but to judge. They don't say it out loud, but they form opinions. They build quiet conclusions about who you are, what you're capable of, and where you stand. And sometimes, people remember everything. Not in a supportive way, but in a strategic one. They remember your fears, your doubts, your weaknesses. And at the right moment, whether intentional or not, those things can be used against you. This is where everything starts to shift. Because privacy isn't what most people think it is. It's not about hiding who you are. It's not about being distant or closed off. It's about protection. It's about understanding that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your life. That just because someone is close to you doesn't mean they need to know everything about you. There's a difference between connection and exposure. And most people confuse the two. The truth is, the more you share without intention, the more control you give away. You open yourself up to opinions, expectations, and influences that don't always serve you. But the people who truly understand this move differently. They don't feel the need to explain everything. They don't announce every plan. They don't reveal every detail. They choose carefully because they know something most people don't. Not everything valuable needs to be visible, and not everything meaningful should be shared. The most successful, self-aware people understand one thing, that some parts of your life should stay yours, not out of fear, but out of strength. So the real question isn't should you share your life? It's what exactly should you keep to yourself, no matter who's listening? So what are the 7 things you should never share, that no matter how close someone is? So what exactly should you keep to yourself? Not everything needs to be hidden, but some things lose their power the moment they're shared with the wrong person. The key isn't silence, it's selectivity. 1. Your biggest goals. It feels natural to talk about your ambitions, to tell people what you're working toward, what you want to achieve. But the more you talk about your goals, the less driven you often become. Your brain starts to confuse talking with doing. You get a sense of progress without actually making any. And then there's the reaction of others. Some people will doubt you, others will question you. Even small comments can plant seeds of hesitation. That's why the most focused people move quietly. They don't announce their vision, they build it. And when the results come, they speak for themselves. 2. Your next move plans are fragile in the beginning. When you share them too early, you expose them to opinions, advice, and interference. Suddenly, what was clear in your mind becomes clouded by what others think you should do. Not everyone needs to know where you're going next. Sometimes the smartest move is making it without an audience. 3. Your income and finances money changes perception. The moment people know how much you earn, things shift. Sometimes subtly, sometimes completely. It can create comparison, jealousy, expectations, or even entitlement. People may treat you differently, not because you changed, but because their perception of you did. Keeping your finances private protects your relationships from unnecessary tension. 4. Your personal struggles with the wrong people. Opening up is important, but only in the right environment. Vulnerability is powerful when it's shared with people who genuinely care. But in the wrong hands, it becomes exposure. Not everyone knows how to hold your truth. Some will misunderstand it, some will judge it, and some will remember it in ways that don't help you. You don't need to share everything to feel seen. You just need to share it with the right people. 5. Your good deeds. Not everything needs to be announced. When you constantly share your kindness, it slowly shifts from something genuine to something performative. True kindness doesn't need an audience. The more private it is, the more real it becomes, and the less it's influenced by validation. 6. Your family problems. Family is deeply personal. When you share those problems with the wrong people, they only see fragments of the situation. They don't understand the full story, but they still form opinions, and those opinions stay. Even after things are resolved, others may still see your family through a distorted lens. Not everything needs to be explained. Some things are better handled within the space they belong. 7. Your weaknesses. Everyone has them, but not everyone deserves to know them. The right people will understand your weaknesses and support you through them. The wrong people will store that information, and use it when it benefits them. Not always out of malice, but out of human nature. That's why protecting your vulnerabilities isn't about hiding. It's about choosing who has access to them. And this is where most people misunderstand everything. This isn't about becoming distant. It's not about shutting people out. It's about being intentional. Knowing that your time, your energy, your thoughts, and your life have value. And not everyone deserves unlimited access to that, because the moment you become selective, everything changes. You think clearer, you move smarter, you protect what actually matters. So if keeping things private gives you power, how do you actually apply this without becoming distant? So how do you actually live this way and without becoming distant, cold, or disconnected? It starts with a shift in how you see silence. Because silence is not weakness, it's control. In a world where everyone feels the need to explain themselves, to justify their actions, to constantly be seen and heard, choosing not to speak becomes power. Not because you have something to hide, but because you understand that not everything needs to be exposed. You don't owe everyone access to your life. Not your thoughts, not your plans, not your struggles. Access is something that should be earned, not given freely. And the truth is, the less people know, the less they can influence. Less opinions, less pressure, less unnecessary noise. You begin to move without distraction, without constantly adjusting yourself based on what others might think or say. You start making decisions based on clarity, not validation. And that's where real control begins. But this doesn't mean you isolate yourself. It means you become intentional. You start sharing less and observing more. Instead of filling every silence, you pay attention. You notice how people act, how they react, what they reveal without even trying. And in that space, you understand more without saying much at all. You also learn to speak with purpose, not impulsively, not emotionally in the moment, but consciously. You don't share just because you feel something. You share because it matters, because it serves a purpose, because it's with someone who deserves to hear it. And most importantly, you protect your energy, because your energy is limited. Every conversation, every explanation, every unnecessary interaction takes something from you. And when you give too much of it away to the wrong people, you're left with less for yourself, less focus, less clarity, less peace. So you begin to treat your energy like something valuable, something that not everyone has access to. And slowly things change. You feel lighter, more grounded, more in control of your own direction. You stop reacting to everything around you and start choosing how you respond. And in that space, something important becomes clear. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, not your success, not your intentions, not your worth. The people who understand you don't need explanations, and the people who don't wouldn't understand them anyway. So you stop trying, you stop over-explaining, you stop oversharing, you stop giving pieces of yourself to people who haven't earned them, and instead, You become selective, calm, focused, intentional. Because privacy is not about hiding. It's about choosing what deserves to be seen. And once you understand that, everything shifts. You move differently. You think differently. You live differently. Because in a world where everyone shares everything and the one who stays silent moves the furthest,